Hey, J-Bros popping in here. I am going to remove this middle coupler here. I got my handy dandy adjustable wrench. Does multiple things. I'm going to give this, let's see here. I don't think these things are on there insanely tight. Okay, maybe I'm not going to get in here. Let's see. Right there she went. Oh, as I suspected. Wasn't on there too tight. I don't know how much of this hydraulic fluid is going to come pouring out of here, but I have the hydraulics. Obviously, should be just whatever leaks out of here should just be up on top here, is my guess. But the way this thing's been leaking, I can't imagine. Oh, Jesus! I better get quick here. Okay, there's the old one. I'll put that down here. Or maybe I'll hold on to it. Hopefully this thread's on right. I'll set this one down here. My dad said he wanted to try to putz with that. See if he can't fix it. Take this red thing off. It's kind of getting in my way. Assuming this is the right thread. Of course, my fingers are all hydraulic fluid up. I'm gonna go grab a different towel. Grab some different gloves too. I don't want to try to force thread it on there if it's the wrong thread too. Like I said, I just bought these on and they look identical. But the way I've been going with threading of late, it seems like I've got the right stuff, but it's not the right stuff. Okay, first off, I would recommend not having this red thing on here when you're trying to thread it on. Just gonna look at that other one. I mean, you know, you get into this American, all different thread stuff. I mean, it just looks identical to that other one. But here I'm just so nervous about stripping stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It looks identical. I'm going to take this old one here. I'm going to go get a marker and mark this off. Well, I just know the old one is full of... I just don't want to mix it up here and... Well, I guess it's not that. It's difficult to take off. Get this stupid red thing off because I'm messing with my toes. Just want to see how easy this old one threads back on. Like I said, I don't really want to. Okay, that's threads on insanely easy. Okay, right there. So that's the old one. Oh, this one just looks identical. Yeah. Must be the wrong thread. That sucks. That means I bought the wrong part or something. This one's done hemorrhaging frickin' hydraulic fluid. Well, I guess I'll leave you there until I figure out what I'm going to do. I'm definitely going to take and look at this one here and see if I can't see what's going on with the seal in this, because Dad was saying we might be able to fix this one. But yeah, we'll just see what's happening here shortly. Okay, what I ended up doing here, I ended up pulling this apart, and this actually seems insanely simple. Okay, and this has no rubber bushing, so that's all I was looking for, is why is the rubber thing messed up? Well, if you look at here really quick, see this here? I'll see if I can get that. See that piece of metal right there? Little piece of metal got on that rubber ring, and I'm hoping it's just as simple as that little chunk of metal on that rubber ring is creating the gap in the void, which would make sense, and you can see it. Let's see if I can back you up here. Sorry, but there it is. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead, remove that, and there it is. I'm gonna go ahead, remove that, put you on camera, and I'll re-put this back together. Hopefully it's just as simple as when I didn't unlatch the thing, just a little piece of the metal threading or whatever had just broke off and slipped in the way of the rubber seal. But I'll be right back here and I'll show you how to put it back together. All right, let's get into it. Like I mentioned, here's the piece where that little metal is in there. Oh, but I would almost bet anything that is the problem. I'm just going to look deep in here with the light just to see if the ring looks good. Yeah, I don't see anything else in here like far as the ring looking damaged or anything like that. So this here was the insert plug which goes in there, so that just slips into the rubber thing down there, and that takes a little bit of pressure to get that in there and out. That just goes to show how tight that seal is. So there you go, I just pushed that in there with my thumb, so that's sealed up. And then this is the shaft that goes into here next, just like that. And then there is the spring, which you want to guide over the shaft, which slips down into the cylinder there. Hopefully I'm showing you that right and you can see it. And then you got the little triangle guy here, or spin-on thing, which just slips inside the spring there. So just like that. And then just the big coupler here. And that slides over here. Okay, and then as you see how it looks like there, we just screw that together. Why didn't I deep dive into this earlier? Okay. The reason why I was going to take this apart is, well, for one, my dad was thinking that we could fix this. And the other part I was going to test, which I'm sure it wouldn't work anyway, I was going to see if, oh, maybe just this thread was the wrong thread and the other new one would thread into here. But being I found that metal thing, I think it's pretty obvious that was the issue, because, I mean, this is not a rocket science part. Okay, so what I did on this one, this is obviously from the machine. Put some gloves on here. I took, this is an inch and a quarter. This is the same locking nut on the CRT23 on the big holding nut for the track. So I just took this and put this in reverse order. I'll hold it here. Okay, as tight as I can get it right now. And then I just took my handy dandy adjustable wrench here. Go a little bit bigger. Oh, goodness sakes. lighting's just terrible around here. One of these days I'm gonna get some lights in this shop here. Okay, yeah, and then I just backed it off a little bit. And you don't get aggressively tight with this stuff. I mean, you want it tight obviously so it doesn't leak, but you don't want it so tight where you're stripping stuff either. Yeah, so there we go. Hopefully that's all there is to it, and I don't know what the heck else it could be. And I'm sure that inner ring could get replaced, but that thing look obviously brand new because this machine ain't that old. But let's go see if we can get it on the machine and get back on track. Okay, back in action. There's the one that had the metal in there. Like I said, I have no clue why it wouldn't be just that. And just as easy as it screwed off for the most part. Screwing back on, and I'll get my adjustable wrench here. Oops, I gotta shrink that down a little bit. Actually, I'm gonna try to tighten this one on here because this one needs to get a little bit tighter than. I did get it. Like I said, I just like to do a little snugness. I'm gonna shrink this down for this one now. Tell you what, I never seen a tool like this, but I was dinking around on that Temu site that I'm on, and you know, it just does everything. It'll offset like this. So you do that. You can flip this around. You can unscrew this all the way, and then it kind of acts as a pipe wrench. And then you can kind of go like this. So if you're in a weird spot, this is kind of the coolest thing ever. And then it'll also adjust back to that length, adjust back to that length, or far out. But yeah, I don't know, kind of an interesting tool. But anyway, okay. That should be all there is to it. I'm pretty certain with all this hydraulic fluid and stuff I've been losing, I'm certain I'm going to have to top my machine off. But I guess the only way now to see if this is leaking is to fire this back up, and I will get set up for that. And yeah, I think this other one is a little bit shorter, this cap. Right? Yeah, this is loaded. Yeah, so that's kind of a bummer. Obviously, I didn't check. I had gotten the American. At least I'm assuming it's American fine thread or coarse thread or whatever thread this is. But yeah, like I said, I can't even imagine there's any reason why this would leak right now. I just beyond me. Okay, I will get back here and we will test it out. Yeah, I figured what the heck, I'd bring you along for filling up topping out the hydraulic fluid, because like I said, there's no doubt in my mind I'm gonna be low on here. So I just go through here because obviously I got brand new stuff. And this is the ever elusive red cap that's a pain in the butt to initially get off. And we'll get into the filter here. And I did pick up a cheap tray yesterday when I was getting a hose for something, so now I don't have to might as well get some of that thrown back in there. Let's just see here, put that in there. And I'm just going to check this filter anyway because I got it out. Oh, it doesn't want to come off. Come on, baby. There we go. Ooh. I am going to run and grab my magnet here. And looks like we got some debris in there, and I might be, who knows, might be needing a new filter. I'll be right back. Okay, let's see if we can't, I'll show you down in there. See all that stuff down there? I'm going to run my magnet down there and see if that's metal or if that's kind of dirt and stuff. And this is the type of magnet thing that I run down there, and we'll see what we can't pick up. This is the stuff you want to keep out of there. And like I said, I might, yeah, look at that there. Yep, there's it again. Back it up, let's see that, pull that chunk of metal out of there. So that's just some of the inner frayings from using your hydraulics. I'm gonna wipe this off. I suppose it's probably been, I don't know, 50 hours I suppose since I have, see, we still got some stuff down in there. And what I might do is I might take this over to my pan and I don't know if I can take the, yeah, this will come off, which it does. Okay, I'll wipe this off. What I might do is I might just give this filter a good look over, and I might just flush it with some hydraulic fluid over my tank here. Let's take another peek at that. Yeah, but it is pretty dirty down there. Okay, well, I'm going to take a peek at this and see if I can't rinse some hydraulic fluid out of here. And because I don't have an extra filter on hand, so I won't swap this out, but I'm probably going to order a new filter just because. Yeah, I'll be right back and get this cleaned out. Okay, I kind of got set up over here, and I ran another bout through the filter, and see if you can't quite see where. Keep you in the light there. See how much more flaking stuff is on there? That's the second run through that. That's a lot of stuff in there. And that's really what you're fighting most. Yeah, that's a lot of fine metals. But you know, you're hooking this up to different attachments and stuff like that, and you're working new parts. You know, you never know how much of that old shaving stuff gets in there. But yeah, I'll probably just end up getting a new filter. I'm going to do this a few more times. Yeah, so there we go again. Right in there. I'm going to run my little bit bigger magnet down there and just see if I got a little more power. Because I got that size of one, and then I've got this size of one, which I'll take and use this one for the bottom of the tank and just see what's getting past the filter. But ultimately the filter's doing its job, and I'm just going to prolong its life a little bit by cleaning it out. Let's see, there you can see right there again. All right, let's see how dirty it is now. Hope I can get you in a very good angle to see it. Maybe not, but it's pretty clean down there. Well, pretty clean, not really. Let's just say it isn't terrible. It's going to work for now, but I'm going to get a new one. So I'll be right back when we go over and run the magnet in the tank. Yeah, sorry if this video got a little chopped up. Like I said, I really did not have any intentions of deep diving into this, but being we're this far in, I'm back to the tank here. I'm going to use my bigger magnet and just see what we're getting at the bottom of the tank here, or excuse me, bottom of the filter tank. And I can hear stuff clicking to this already. And that's where the other smaller magnet will work better sometimes. Is because it won't stick to the bottom. It'll kind of glaze the bottom. If there's any big stuff I want to kind of see on here. Okay, nothing big, which is good. I'm gonna run that smaller magnet down there, and that should just pick up the fine threads if there is any. Nope, pretty much like I said, filter's doing its job. Okay, actually just for the fun of it, I'm going to unscrew where hypothetically the fill cap should be, but I'm just going to check on the bottom of the tank. Yeah, and as I already know, this is good level because at the bottom or inside this filter thing, like I've mentioned before in other videos, the height I like to keep the tank at, which is obviously shows in this dipstick, but it gets tough to see. It's right to the top of where the ribs start inside this tank. I'll go ahead and put that here. And I just out of curiosity, I want to dump this thing down in here and just see what, you know, obviously I can't get very far in there, but just see what's going on down there. Anything. Yeah, pretty much nothing in there. Can't really show you there. You know, just a little bit of stuff. Okay, well, I would say we're good to go there. I am going to dump a little bit of hydraulic fluid. I'm probably about a 1/4 inch low on my standards. And I'm going to put this plug back in here. Like I said, you probably should be filling it through the dipstick area, but yeah, I'm not too overly concerned about it. And probably what I'm going to do as well, okay, that's on there snug. I'm probably going to dump all this hydraulic fluid, I don't know, maybe in another 20 some hours, and just give a full hydraulic fluid flush, just because I am starting to get some dirtiness in there. I am starting to, and this is the hydraulic fluid I'm using, or hydraulic oil I should say. Like I said, I'm up in colder climates, that's why I use this. And plus it is coming to summer, so I might switch the hydraulic fluid to 46. Let's see. I can move some stuff around here. This is the part I don't like. I'm gonna have to get my funnel. And being the fact I'm going to use the funnel, I'm going to screw my filter back on, and I'm going to dump it through this other one that I was just mentioning I wasn't going to put it in. So my head, well, I need to keep the filter out so I can see what level that I'm getting it to. Sometimes this stuff is just easier with 2 people, but you don't always have somebody that's just itching to come do this maintenance stuff. And being, there we go, drop that in there, and then we will see it raise. Okay, let's get close. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do. I probably put, I don't know, I probably will say I put 1 liter in there. So that is a fair amount of oil. Okay, got that. Now I'm just making a mess all over. Okay, so let's go ahead and check the dipstick for the fun of it, I guess. Yeah, and we're right there, it looks like. You don't want to be above that, so like I said, my guesstimation in there is pretty good with where the dipstick reads. Because like I said, the reason why I go off that ribs in that filter in there is because the dipstick's so dang hard to read. Yeah, sorry for this being such a long video and kind of being all over the map on what I'm what I was trying to get to. Okay, and that just kind of snugs in there. So you know you got that on here, and of course the cap I'm going to put back on. Throw my glove on. Like I said, don't crank this thing down super tight. It does not need to be. Just kind of get it to the point. There. See? Should be easy enough to come right off like that. Don't get crazy. Because you build up all that pressure and then that gets super tight to take off. Okay. That's enough of this jazz. Let me get to the original portion of the video. I am going to fire this rig up. I've got the hydraulic tank topped off. I've got the filter cleaned out. But we're here for the connector. So I'll get this fired up and hopefully we're not leaking and I can get in action. Well, I'll move the hydraulics around. I got a clean towel. We'll see if it leaks at all. Well, that's a good sign so far because it was leaking when it was here. I'll go ahead and get hooked up to the wood drill bit and I'll test it there. But right now is a good sign because I'm almost certain when I was running pressure through there, it was still leaking there. Well, I suppose let's see if we can't get this drill bit to go. New attachment, obviously. Okay, that's that one. This is this one. Okay, so this is the one that was leaking. And that's the fixed one. I gotta get my gloves on. Yeah. Like I said, I've moved this around quite a bit and whatnot. I even threw some hydraulic thing through the attachment. No leaks, so I'm saying it's taken care of, but we shall find out. Oh. Okay, that's on, and I think the last time I plugged that in, it leaked, but we'll give her a test here. I really hope this is it. Okay, that's hooked up, that's hooked up. Alright, see no leaks, so back it up so you can see the auger go, and then we'll do a close-up here after I spin her a little bit. Yeah, I'll figure out something for these hoses, but auger spinning good. That should nail some stumps. Put you right there. Get you in reverse here. I don't see anything. That would have been leaking like it was last time. take a quick peek here. That might be a little bit of a leak there. Might be. I'll have to check back on that. Maybe that just needs a little bit more wrenching. But that could have been from before too. Other than that, let's check up top again. Yeah, shoot. I'd say I'm ready for a stump drill bit test. That's awesome. That is awesome. So it was just as simple as that rubber ring in there. So if anybody has any issues with one of those leaking, just deep dive in there. And in all the reality, the worst thing it could be in there, I mean, of course that spring could have been broke, which we know it wasn't that, but is maybe that rubber ring gets old and bad. But I mean, this is a brand new machine, and that's where it didn't shock me with that metal pieces in there. But anyway, this video was way longer than I want it to be. Yeah, comment down below. Please like, subscribe. J-Bros out.